ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the ships at sea, welcome to Cookin.
You and Walter Winchell.
Yeah, so well, I got a little something extra here today I want to show you. It's my handy-dandy, this is the food police. Come out with your hams in the air. It's also got some other things, you know. Now, if the very lovely Miss Doris gets out of hand, I have an alarm. That's a Doris alarm.
Yes.
But anyway, well, I'll just keep this on standby just in case.
I was afraid
I need it.
to project your already booming voice.
Yes, that's true.
Well, let's get the witch in here and see what we're doing today. And here she comes. Boink. Well, she kind of a rough take.
I think it's your turn to read the witch letter. Did you hear a whistle when she went through?
Yes, I did. She whistles at us. Well, let's see. Dear gentlemen, I live in Canada where we watch your show on satellite. I have never been in the southern United States, and I must admit that many of your recipes are rather quaint. I am writing to ask about a dessert you once mentioned on the show, a cobbler. Is it a cake shaped like one of the paving bricks on old streets, or perhaps a nail of the same name? Please show us who are not up on your southern lingo. Truly yours, Bertha Shoemaker, Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
Oh, my heavens, Moose Jaw.
Moose Jaw.
We haven't gotten a letter of Moose Jaw since I don't remember. Well, yeah.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it's funny that she would ask. It was a she, wasn't it? I can't remember.
Bertha, I guess it was.
I'm doing something called apple macaroon, sent in by the lovely Sandra Morris of Bear, Delaware.
Bear, Delaware.
Bear, Delaware.
And I'm doing a recipe from Ava Presley of Norton, Virginia.
Oh, I love it. Great name.
And Ava, I didn't realize till I was making this recipe a little while ago that we probably did this 12 or 15 years ago on this show as one of the secret recipes from the Bly family.
That's right. And the lovely Doris will be doing holiday apple cobbler.
Oh, so
she'll be in shortly.
Well, we got cobblers today. Do you want to
now
start?
Leaving from gate number 7 to Danville, Virginia.
Oh, he is such a mess when he just has to play.
I got to do a couple of quick things. Well, wait till my Billy Bob teeth arrive. I've just ordered some Billy Bob teeth. They're going to kill you, folks. They're wonderful, but they're a little pricey. You know, those gag gift catalogs charge too much for stuff.
Well, of course they do.
First thing, this thing calls for an incredible amount of stuff, and it makes a huge cobbler. First thing I got to do real quick, and then I'll let you get on your way, is 2 1/3 or a half, I can't remember, a third, I think it is, sticks of margarine or butter, and we're going to go with a little combination of both today, although...
Well, it looks to me like you got 2 2/3 cup.
Well, it's something like that.
Well, it'll just be a little extra greasy.
It's just a little extra, and besides, now, Miss Doris has already laid me out thoroughly before we went on the air. She says, this is terrible stuff to use in baking. It should only be used as a spread. Well, next thing I got to do is take some Granny Smiths or some kind of apple that's close to it, and do about 13 of them, which is a big old bag about this big. Big lumpy bag about this big. And because it takes so many, I've already done a goodly number of them already. And all you do is you cut them into the same size of snits that you use in a pie. And that's about that big. That's a snit. An apple snit. That's what they called them where I came from. And you know I'm from Winchester, near Winchester, which is the eastern apple capital of the world. And so I know a little bit about apples, but not much. I know, for instance, that this is the peeling that I'm taking off right now. And essentially you quarter them and take out the little thing in the middle, that little ugly thing there in the middle. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm heating my margarine and I'm snitting my apples.
I'll swear, I think this boy sometimes, that pumpkin head of his was cloned from an apple tree. Snit.
Anyway,
now, I have lived here in the Roanoke Valley where we have a number of fine orchards, and in all of my life, which is longer than yours,
considerably,
I have never heard that word snit used in relationship to an apple. I have heard it many times in its regular use, being in one.
Had a terrible snit and hit her upside the head.
Well, anyway.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll be happy to look it up for you, but it's one of those terms I grew up with, an apple snit. If anybody out there has ever heard of it, let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to know that. All right, I've got a cup of flour, self-rising variety. Make sure you're using the self-rising now. Cup of flour and a cup of sugar. And in the oven, I have an 8x8 pan. You can use whatever you want. With a stick of margarine in it, melting.
Oh,
now I've got the flour. Well, there. Oh, getting so rough there. And you want to mix the flour and sugar together.
No one will miss that one apple I just threw away.
Was it bad?
No, I had chopped it all up into pieces and forgot to take the peel off of it. So anyway, that's okay.
I guess the snake is going to come out here in a few minutes and tell you to take a bite of that.
Now, you know, there used to be, didn't you the one that told me that there used to be a contest to see who could get the longest peel and all that? Okay. I was just wondering. And what did you win if you had the longest peel?
Well, probably a good grade from your instructor, because they did it mostly in those schools.
In schools?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, anyway, I've got my flour, and now I've got to add to this a cup of milk. So let me get that out of the refrigerator.
Well, I am now peeling the last of my apples. Where's the refrigerator? Oh, he's lost the refrigerator. Ladies and gentlemen, he's forgot where the refrigerator is.
And this milk is cheap.
I just want everybody to know that Laban and Larry just took a rare trip together. We haven't done that in years, to Washington, D.C., and after 2 days, we're still being lovely, speaking to one another. In fact, we had a wonderful time, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Okay, now here's the next thing you got to do. Take a big old pan, and I mean a big old pan, and that thing is bubbling around, almost put my eye out. It says a 17 1/4 by 11 1/2 2-inch pan, and that's pretty near what you got right here. And you can either take butter and butter it up. I'm going to take a little leftover Pamela. Pam. Some kind of, you can use any brand you want to, of course. No, anyway.
I wish you would.
And oil it or grease it. And then the next thing you do is take all these apples and just put them down in there just as you would a pie. And that's it for right now. Laban,
well, that's real good. All right, now to my cup of sugar, cup of flour, I add a cup of milk. So this recipe is real easy to remember. Let me move this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. And you mix this together into a smooth batter. And of course, if Doris had been on top of things, I would have had a whisk to use to make this, Well,
I'm
Larry's
using the whisk,
using it.
But there you go.
No, that's all right. I can use a spoon.
I insist.
No, I'm going to use the spoon.
I insist.
I said I'm using the spoon.
Well, rinse it off.
Well, so much for that 2 days in Washington, D.C.
Well, you know, we had a great time, except that one period on Friday night where we were in the cab and the cab driver got lost.
It was a cab nightmare, ladies and gentlemen. We knew where our parking lot was, but he didn't.
We could see it, but we couldn't get to it. It was like Abraham looking over at the promised land.
Can you say, well, it's over across I-66 over there. See that one over there? Well, that's it. And he couldn't get to it for 45 minutes.
We drove around, and the meter was running.
The whole time. $40-some.
People of Washington, learn your streets. It was right much of a scream.
Now listen, I need to do a couple of things when you get a little chance there.
Go ahead.
This recipe goes on so long, I'm afraid if I don't hustle along, I'm not going to get it done. Take 5 eggs, break them, and beat them all up. So that's what we're going to do right now, 5 eggs. And that is one, oh,
Oh, what a lovely mess.
Excuse me. Doris, I'm glad you're enjoying this so much. Listen to her. She's just fairly cackling over there. I think that you laid these eggs.
Ooh.
Sounds very hot, Mr. Johnson.
It
now,
is, Mr.
take these eggs and beat them up.
Take these eggs and beat them. Sounds like an old Johnny Paycheck song.
Beat those up. So anyway, all right, that's all I do for right now. Leave it. What'd you just do?
Oh, all right. Now, here's my little aluminum pan, and I brought aluminum pan because I know very well that as soon as this show is over, the crew is going to descend upon these, and I didn't want to have one of my nice fine dishes. Doris gave me a lovely crystal one for Christmas like this, but I didn't want to bring it because I knew they would break it with their big ugly fangs and their paws grabbing at them and everything. So anyway, here is your stick of margarine melted in the pan. You just warm up the oven because it's got to bake at 350 degrees. Put your pan in there, let it melt, and then you're going to add to it this mixture out of the bowl with the cup of sugar, cup of flour, and a cup of milk. All right, there we go. All right, that's all added in. Now we got a can of peaches. You remember Peaches? She was a wonderful woman.
Used to twirl those things? Oh, well, oh, yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know.
Peaches was a great lady in many respects. All right, now, without dumping, without draining them, you pour the peaches right on in there. And then you kind of arrange them around a little bit. And then you put it in the put it in the oven and bake it for a half an hour, and that's all you do.
And
that's
you're finished?
it. I'm finished.
Why don't you do your recipe?
All right, the recipe is 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of milk, 1 stick of margarine, and a large can of peaches. And that's it.
It's the old 1-1-1-1-1 recipe.
Oh, while we're goofing,
no, hang on. I got to do something here. I got a lot to do. Next thing we got to do is we got to make a mixture of a cup of sugar, some flour, and some cinnamon. So the next thing we do is 8 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This makes an awful lot of stuff. That wasn't what I did yesterday. And a cup of cinnamon sugar, which I've already pre-mixed. I have this great big thing of cinnamon, and I just mixed it up with a nice thing of, wasn't that what it says? Cinnamon to taste. Oh my, it's already a mess.
What has he done now?
Put that in there, mix it all up. And now let's go to the Cook sisters while I find myself. I'm totally lost. I can't figure out what I'm doing. Let's go to the Cook sisters.
All right, here they come trippingly down the hall with their canes, their rockers, and their assorted attendants.
Hey, sister. Yeah? Looks like you need to wash your hands. You know, you should wash your hands every time you handle raw meat.
Oh, right.
You should. The germs just hate it when you do that, and it just washes them right down the drain.
Oh, no, now we'll get the germ people on us.
Oh, I know. The germ fanatics are everywhere.
They are. I'm Sister Cook.
I'm Tootsie Cookin.
And we're the Cook sisters.
I did it right, you.
And it's gorgeous.
Oh, hey. Doris and I are having just a tinge of a little argument here. Okay, you know, you take that flour and cinnamon and sugar, and the next thing you do is...
If you want to see the real recipe, folks, it'll be in the cookbook.
You take that and put it over top of there, just like that, all pre-mixed and everything like that, okay? And if you want just a little bit of extra cinnamon, just do that, okay? There you go with that. Now, the next thing we do is we take the 5 eggs...
that have been lightly beaten.
Lightly beaten.
Including the one that was dropped on the floor.
It was not dropped on the floor, Mr. Johnson. And the sticks of margarine, put that in there. And what else goes in there? 5 eggs beaten. 2½ cups of flour goes in there. All right, 2½ cups of flour. I told you this took a while, but that's all right. We'll get there. 1, 2, and 1/2 goes in there. And a little bit of salt. Do you have some salt over there? Do we have some salt? Do we have... May I have your attention, please? Is there any salt on the set? Doris, is there any... Oh, she's getting... Okay, thank you very much. A little bit of salt goes on here at this time. Try and keep up with me, Jim. And that goes there. Next, we have... That's it. Okay, now we're going to mix this up, and while we mix this up, I'm going to give you my recipe. Okay, here we go. And it calls for 12 large apples. Granny Smiths are preferred. A cup of sugar. 8 tablespoons of flour, cinnamon to taste. That's the initial stuff that goes in there. Stop it. The topping is 2 1/3 stick of butter or margarine. I'm in big trouble. 2½ cups of sugar, 5 eggs beaten, 2½ cups of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which I just added, and then a little more cinnamon sugar, which we will pile on top. And that's the recipe. And now, ladies and gentlemen, showing that I'm ambidextrous, we're going to bring in the very lovely Doris Ford. I need to have the official, I need to reset this for the official Doris alarm. All right. How you doing, Doris?
I'm doing just
I almost killed that for you today, too, didn't I? I accidentally put her stuff on broil.
That's okay. It needed to be nice and brown. And
Well, it certainly is.
okay, I had to do find my spot now. Holiday apple cobbler, and it was sent in by Pamela
Would you?
Maynor, age 15, from Gordonsville, Virginia. And you take 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 to 3/4 teaspoons of ground, how do you say it, cardamom?
Cardamom.
And boy, that is expensive. So it says, if desired, if you don't, unless you have it at home, I think maybe I'd leave it out, or you could put maybe a little cinnamon or something in its place, well, mace in its place. 1 tablespoon of cornstarch.
Doris, you're a poet and don't know it.
I didn't even know what I said. 5
Mace
cups
in
of
its place.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh,
5 cups of sliced
Doris
hot
is
apples.
beginning to cry, folks.
She's amazing.
And 1 cup of cranberries. And if you want to make this other, this is the end of February here, and there's no such animal as cranberries, but luckily I freeze them. I got a dirty old man here breathing in my ear.
Huh. Move along, Doris. I have things to do.
Get to it.
And some Hunger Jack biscuits. And you take and you take this and you cook it on the stove. You cook your cranberries, apples, your sugar, and whatever on top of the stove till they're almost done. Put them in the oven. Put the biscuits on top with some sugar, the rest of the sugar on it, and bake it. And I think it's going to turn out pretty good now that you've heated it up real good.
No.
See, and underneath here, if I can get it out.
Now you're going to tell us everything that's in it?
I
She
tried. I'm just gonna move that over. See, this is your filling.
Ooh, that
And it looks
good.
pretty. It's the cranberry and the apple, and it all goes together. So it would be good for the holidays or any time. Well, like I say, I froze the cranberries, so luckily we had some for today.
Good.
And because there's none around. Okay, you done?
Do you have anything else you want to say?
Not really.
Well, so much for her. Okay, now you can see that when you make this mess, that, that it makes a very, very thick batter, a very thick batter. And so now what you do, and you actually, if it gets, sometimes it can get even thicker than that, and it says just sort of drop it in drops, although I have a tendency to make it a little bit thinner than they do. And the next thing you do now is you just distribute this batter over top of the apples with that cinnamon sugar on it, and try and sort of smooth it out as best you can. It's going to distribute underneath the 350 degrees or whatever for about an hour and 15 minutes. It has to go. And I tell you what, it's a long recipe, but I will tell you it appears to be a simply stunningly delicious recipe. So there you see that. Now
that is
also
gorgeous.
what you do is at this point take just a little more of the cinnamon sugar, or just the cinnamon itself, and just kind of sprinkle it over the top, however much you'd like, just enough to make it real pretty.
That would make a nice glaze to it. You know
there you
what?
go.
The lovely Doris,
Yes.
who never makes a mistake, never.
Uh-oh.
She left the cream out. You pour cream over it after you take it out of the oven.
Uh-oh. Doris alarm.
When you're serving it.
Yeah, when you're serving
that
it.
so?
So I'm taking care of that right now.
Well, I want to show them what this looks like when it
Okay.
comes out of the oven. This is a very, very pretty recipe.
Ooh, it is.
And look at that. You could feed the whole neighborhood on that.
Well, I'm glad we're not live right this very second, because your neighborhood would show up.
Well,
You're the only person I know that would have two things that size.
I know. That is true. And I have yet another one. Now, this one's Doris, the one I used today. But this one is mine, and I also have another one, at least that large at home.
Well,
Do we
it's
have a
lovely.
serving spoon for this?
Oh, we can use this.
Alrighty.
Oh, here, Doris is
Doris
got one.
is right
Well, let me get over
on the
there.
spot here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to those Cook sisters. Oh, we've done that.
Oh, we've done.
Okay. I'm so confused. Ha 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 ha. Thank you, Laban.
Well, you're welcome. I'm just trying to get to my place.
Well, look at this beautiful floral tribute. Now, what are these real? Of course they are. Look at this. What are those?
I've got hung up on my mic cord.
What are they? Zinnias? Are they?
No, they're Transvaal daisies.
They're what?
That's correct. They're Transvaal from South Africa daisies.
Transvaal? Well, how do you know stuff like this, Mr. Johnson?
Well, like I've said many times, I just wish I could rearrange my hard disk so I didn't know all the stuff I do.
Let me get you some of Doris's.
I've already got it. It's in the bowl, already served.
Oh. Well, let me get you
try to help him, and he just...
Well, that's the greatest of plenty. Which one should I try first? It's so exciting, I just can't tell. I'll try yours.
I'll try yours.
Well, I know what yours tastes like, because this is the same recipe I make all the time at home.
We've already used it. Doris is standing over on the side
She
telling
thinks
us
we don't know how to use a
to
pitcher.
use the cream on hers.
Well, I'm going to see what... Let me see what Doris's is like here. You know what? It tastes like a big old glob of cherry with a big old Hungry Jack biscuit next to it. No, it's good. It really is delicious.
Yep. It's the best biscuit I've ever had out of a can.
And you know, I think that by my putting it under the broiler accidentally for 5 minutes helped it a great deal.
Well, it put that hard glaze onto it.
A nice glaze. Well, let me try mine. What do you think of mine, Mr. Johnson?
Well, as I previously said, I thought it was real good.
You know, I think
You are distracted today.
I have been totally distracted by the day. This is a great recipe. You know, it's worth all the trouble I had to go through to do it. And I did do it right, by the way. You all scoffed at me and made fun of me and light of me, but I think I've come up with
If we don't, who will? Half the civilized world. All right. Oh, it is good.
Well, I'm telling you, and that's my own homemade cinnamon. You too can make cinnamon at home. You know what you do? Just mix it with a little sugar. Cinnamon and sugar. Mix it up. However strong you'd like for it to be. And that's cinnamon sugar. You don't even have to go out and buy it or anything.
And I think this recipe would be fun using those new peaches that are spiced. You know, you can get spiced peaches and raspberry flavored peaches.
Look how pretty that is such a, you know, you've just done that perfectly.
Okay, guys, stop trying to kill time over there.
Come over here, Doris. Come over here with your thing here. Come here. Come over here. Doris is now playing. No, no, no. You were doing a great... Get it back up and play with it some more, Doris. Come on in here. Come on. Doris was yelling at us on speakerphone. What do you have? How much time do we have, Doris?
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
I know that, Doris. How much time do we have,
Wait a minute.
Doris?
We have 15 more seconds.
Oh, Doris.
Well, it's
What
been
she
great
does
fun.
to Harold at home, I know. I just know it.
Bye. Bye.